Good afternoon. I hope you had a very good first morning at the annual River Rally. You are part of the largest gathering of clean water advocates ever assembled. Welcome. George Burns once said that the secret of a good sermon is to have a good beginning and a good ending, and to have the two as close together as possible. I'll do my best to take George's advice as I interrupt your lunch for just a few minutes. This is the 13th River Rally, dating all the way back to the last century. This is also the 14th gathering of folks who are part of that dynamic group of water advocates who make up the Waterkeeper Alliance. And we are proud to have been part of a very successful Bridge Day yesterday that included over 100 people in this room. At the outset of my remarks, I must give special thanks to a few key individuals, starting with the great River Network staff and our board of directors. So, if all the staff and board of River Network would stand and be recognized. A lot of the staff are down here because they're dutifully staffing the registration table. Please, if you don't already know them, please make sure to introduce yourself while you're here at Rally. I also certainly want to recognize the rally volunteers and, of course, the great Waterkeeper staff who will help this rally run smoothly over the next 3 days. Most importantly, I want to give thanks to one person in particular. I've been part of the river and watershed movement for 2 decades now, and I've been to every river rally. Some of my best friends and colleagues are in this room. I am motivated to do this work by my passion for the resource and because of my deep appreciation and love for the people in our movement. One of those special folks is not able to be with us at Rally this year. Our dear friend Mark Taylor, longtime River Network board member, former board chair, river hero, and truly one of the most decent individuals I have ever had the pleasure to know, is battling cancer right now. If you know Mark, please join us in wishing him well and a speedy recovery by stopping by the registration table to sign what we expect may be the largest get well card ever assembled. Then, make sure to join us again at River Rally 2013 in St. Louis, where Mark will lead us all in a round of hugs. We come to this year's River Rally once again for education, inspiration, and perhaps most importantly, celebration of a movement that keeps sailing ahead, no matter how rough the seas of public policy get, and no matter which ways the political winds blow. This year, we decided it was time to broaden our collaborative work in 2 important ways. First, we arranged our rally to follow on the heels of the National Monitoring Conference, which began Monday. We saw a natural alliance of purpose and need. The purpose, to gather and act on meaningful data on the state of our waters. The need, in an era of tight budgets and scarce resources, it is more important than ever that we all work together to fill the critical need for good water quality and quantity data. Because you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you are. At the same time, we got serious about the idea of a joint conference with the Waterkeeper Alliance. We knew that together we could take the extraordinary work of the keepers who literally span the globe now and marry that advocacy and driving passion for the resource to our focus here at River Network. So over the course of these 7 days, nearly 2,000 people will have come to the City of Roses to talk about water. If there is magic in this world, surely it is contained in water. When Loran Isley wrote those words, I know that the author was not thinking of this movement, but it is still apt for this room full of water worshipers. We devote our lives to the potion found in the magic that flows through our rivers and watersheds, to the clean water that produces the most mystical of spells. This year at Rally, we will be educated through more than 100 workshops a panel discussion to assess the Clean Water Act on the occasion of its 40th birthday, more than 15 field trips, including a service project, and several intensive sessions on critical water quality and quantity subjects. We will be inspired by thought-provoking speakers like Alexandra Cousteau this morning and Bobby Kennedy Jr. this evening. And we will most definitely celebrate. Then we will emerge from Rally empowered by this great network of watershed warriors and ready to tackle the challenges of the year ahead. And as we go back to our watersheds on Tuesday morning, I would urge all of us to take that positive, celebratory attitude with us into the battles we all face. I know that it's not easy to do. That great Wisconsinite, Aldo Leopold, once said, "One of the penalties of an ecological education is that one lives alone in a world of wounds." And he didn't live to see the likes of today's anti-environmental pundits and politicians. You're irreducibly called a warmist if you talk about the perils of climate change. You're labeled as a job killer if you have the nerve to suggest that maybe we should learn something from our past and not approach hydraulic fracking like we did a strip mining 100 years ago. And we are branded as supporting a centralized command bureaucracy if you have the nerve to suggest that maybe, just maybe, 40 years after we passed the Clean Water Act, we should try something novel, like fully enforcing it. But I would submit to you that we simply will not garner support with a steady drumbeat of "the world is coming to an end, and it's all your fault." Or as someone once put it, when Martin Luther King gave that speech at the Lincoln Memorial in 1963, he didn't call it, "I have a complaint." We owe it to ourselves, and indeed to those of us we are hoping to enlist in the cause of clean water, to be positive about our passion, cheerful when we face our many challenges, and proud to celebrate our many successes. And that, to me, is what River Network is all about. Helping you to achieve success and celebrate. Perhaps a story or two can help you to explain why River Network exists and for whom. He's a brand new executive director for a small river organization. They had one grant. He was the only staff, and their biggest success to date had been getting letterhead printed. Somehow, the reporter for the local paper found the phone number for the group and gave him a call. The reporter said, "So, what impact does road salt have on the river running through town?" With complete confidence in his voice, the new ED said, "Let me pull that file and get right back to you." This was in the 1990s. There was no Google, there was no email, but there was the River Network. The new ED quickly called his umbilical cord to knowledge. Lucia's going to kill me with that one. Catherine Lucia answered his call, put her file on the impact of road salt on rivers, pulled her file on the impact of road salt on rivers, and faxed him the pertinent material. The next day, that fledgling river group had a front page above the fold story in the local paper. I know that story well, because I was that executive director. I was also there when a small group of leaders of river and watershed groups from around the country gathered for an intense multi-day training session, facilitated and paid for by River Network. I shared my hopes, fears, and challenges. I soaked in the atmosphere and the sense of community. The challenges seemed suddenly surmountable, the hopes real, when you knew that others were facing the same fears. And I remember the feeling of sheer joy during one particular exercise when we were told to share a success and then feel the energy from an entire room of colleagues and new lifelong friends who hooped, hollered, and cheered for each person, one victory at a time. That was 1995, and I was hooked on the river movement, on the importance of grassroots water advocacy. It was all because of this crazy group called River Network. I say crazy because it seemed crazy to me that someone had been smart enough to create a national group whose only purpose appeared to be to help me and my little river group. Just pay your partner dues, and you're part of the network, the movement, the community of activists working all across the country for their own waters. Fast forward to last year. River Network is in its 23rd year of existence, and is the evening of the River Heroes Banquet at the River Rally. Now, for those of you who are here at Rally for the first time, the Heroes Banquet is unlike any other recognition gathering that I know of in the conservation community. The heroes are nominated and chosen by peers. Each year, it is the embodiment of that concept that I experienced nearly 2 decades ago. A chance to pause and celebrate the incredible work that our colleagues and dear friends have achieved. I've always felt that way, but it was reaffirming last year when, just before the banquet was set to begin, I walked over to 2 friends who are actually here again with us this year. They paused as I approached, looked up and said, "You know, we were just talking, and we agreed this is our favorite night of the year." That commitment, that comment, has sustained me ever since. Every time a foundation says no, or the financials for the quarter look scary, or yet another cross-country trip takes me away from home waiting for another delayed flight in the airport du jour, I think of the words, "our favorite night of the year." And I push on, because I know that River Network exists to feed the heart of the watershed movement. You can have all the studies you want, the best laid campaign strategy, the most compelling strategic plan ever written. But if you don't feed the heart, the movement dies. So here we are again, to educate, inspire, and by God, celebrate this movement. So soak it in. Feed at the energy source that is all of you around here and this weekend, and then go back and kick some collective ass for your home waters. Yeah! Gather again at River Rally next year, we will celebrate 25 years of our work for all of you. You know, it is a little strange. I can honestly say that River Network has existed for nearly a quarter of a century, and we have never had a single success that is ours alone. Because we don't want one. The only success we want is yours. As has been the case with every social movement in the last 150 years, the groundswell of support comes not from some mysterious force that propels sweeping new legislation through Congress, but from the collective energy of hundreds of innovative, exciting success stories at the local level. From the Friends of the LA River to Groundwork Hudson Valley, whether it is the Alliance for Aquatic Resource Monitoring to the Yadkin Riverkeeper. No matter if you look at the Charles River Watershed Association or our national colleagues at American Rivers and American Whitewater, we as a community are removing concrete channels, daylighting streams, documenting the impacts of hydrofracking, taking on the big polluters, winning international awards, and taking down 100-year-old dams so that rivers may once again run free. And watersheds, and we are winning. These are just a handful of headlines from a network of nearly 2,000 organizations that are doing amazing work. Some 80% of these groups didn't even exist in 1988 when River Network began, and we are thrilled that the watershed protection movement has become a great grassroots success story. We at River Network are proud of the role that we play each year to protect your bottom line, so that you can be more effective on the front lines. We do it with cutting-edge organizational assessment tools like the one that we developed this year at the Chesapeake Bay region, and that we are now taking to groups across the movement. We work to provide technical assistance on the Clean Water Act, habitat and restoration, climate adaptation, the impacts of toxic contaminants on our health, and work to enhance green infrastructure opportunities. And of course, we do it with money. Getting financial resources to the movement as a whole and to our partner groups in particular is a core focus of what we do. And thanks to a host of supporters like the US EPA, Miller Coors, the Mott Foundation, the Corporation for National Community Service, the Park Foundation, Anheuser-Busch, Coca-Cola Company, and as you've just heard, Bridgestone, we have been able to provide well over $1 million in re-grant funds to local groups around the country in the last several years. Each year, here at River Rally, we raise $100,000 in scholarship money to make it possible for many of you to attend the rally. And this year, thanks to the tremendous partnership that we have had with the Waterkeeper Alliance, we have been able to raise well in excess of $140,000 for scholarships. Please take note of all of our generous sponsors and thank them if you run into them over the weekend. They range from large corporate and foundation funders to many of your peers in the audience. In fact, several folks that are here in this room today gave personal donations so that we could meet a Rally Scholarship Challenge grant goal for this year. And so it is in that spirit that I have to ask the rest of you to consider a gift this weekend. As you are well aware, rivers all across America need your help. You can support our work in one of two ways. You can bid on one of the many great items in the silent auction that we have in the exhibit hall across the way, or you can make a direct donation using your auction bid number. In addition, of course, we gladly accept your check or credit card at the Q&A desk at any time. Please, give as generously as you can. The person that you help next year may be sitting next to you today. This is your rally. We at River Network are dedicated to the event because we are dedicated to you. Thanks again for all that you do. Rally!